You know what? I'm going to go without slides. Too much hassle to try and present with the slides, so I apologize for that. So as we began developing augmented reality content, what we started looking at was what are the devices? You know, we know with virtual reality we have, you know, the Oculus Rift initially and the Vive, but at the same time we wanted to figure out what are we going to do with augmented reality. So we initially looked at when will the glasses be out. Apple was talking about their glasses. Obviously, there were glasses from Microsoft with the Hololens, but you know those were fairly expensive for a classroom. And then we had glasses from Magic Leap, but again a little bit too expensive for the classroom. And Apple then announced earlier a few months ago that their glasses would not be coming out until 2022. So our only option at this point was tablets and phones. So we began exploring how do we create strong curriculum on a phone device that any student could use. And so that's what we set forth to do. The first thing that we did was we created a deck of cards. And that deck of cards there were 26 images of space and planets and other you know, extraterrestrial objects. And then at the same time, there were 26 corresponding cards that provided information on those. And so when a student held a phone over that deck of cards, over a card, that card would come to life. So the space shuttle, for example, would come out of that card. Can you still hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Okay. Okay, I'll keep going. My VR has been lost here, so I can't see you anymore. But if you can see me, that should be good enough. So essentially, we began figuring out ways to take our augmented reality and to put that curriculum inside something that was a physical object. So the next item we created was Victor the Torso. And this torso allowed students to hold a phone or a tablet over the chest. And when they did, they could take the organs out of the body and begin to learn about them. But what we believe is there's no substitute for a great teacher. And because of that, we took one of America's best teachers, Wendy Martin. She was the national finalist for Teacher of the Year. And so we turned her into a hologram. And every time a student would pull a heart out of the body or pull the esophagus out of the body, they could double tap that organ, and then Wendy on her flying disc would come flying in, and she would teach about that organ. So students standing in their classroom could essentially have a human cadaver where they could pull organs out of the body and learn about them from a national finalist Teacher of the Year. So for us, this was a great way to teach and to educate. Most recently, we created textbooks with AR. So if you think about it, you have two types of textbooks. We have digital textbooks and we have print textbooks. So if you have a print textbook or a digital textbook, you can read, maybe you can watch some video. But what we bring to the table as pioneers in AR and VR, particularly AR, is that item that they're learning about in augmented reality can come alive and come out of the page. So for example, let's say that you're learning about human cells. Well, traditionally, you're going to be able to see a 2D version of that cell, and you might see it from different angles. But with technology that those of us in this room are pioneering, you can now hold your phone or your tablet over that book, or whether it's a digital book or a regular book, and suddenly that cell comes alive and rises out of the book. Then the students can manipulate it. They can look at it from all different angles. They can touch different pieces of it and hear an audio lesson about that particular piece of the human cell. These are possibilities. These give us options that we've never had before in the areas of learning. So then from books, we moved on to an exhibit. So in the United States, some of you may be from the United States, it's Black History Month, and obviously one of the big issues for our country is the journey for civil rights. So what we did was we took 12 luminaries in the area of civil rights, whether it's Martin Luther King, or whether it's Abraham Lincoln, or Rosa Parks. These are big names in the United States. And we created framed portraits of each one. And so now a school can take those 12 framed portraits of each of these luminaries and hang them in their library, in a classroom, in the hallways. The extra piece of it that we, as AR/VR pioneers bring, is the AR piece of it. So now a student can download a free app called the Journey for Civil Rights in augmented reality. And when they hold that phone over up to that portrait, that framed portrait, suddenly the portrait comes to life, and Martin Luther King begins telling his story. Where did he fit into this journey for civil rights? Or hold it up to Rosa Parks, and she tells her story about sitting in the back of the bus and not being willing to sit in the back of the bus. And so suddenly history comes alive. Instead of reading about the history and the story of each of these individuals, now they can hear about it from the people who actually experienced it. So we have this ability now to bring history to life in a way that's never been possible before. And it can download this free app and carry this information and this history with them. It's really a great opportunity to expand learning, to make learning interesting, and to create a love of learning. However, as you can guess, when you're dealing with new technology, of course, sometimes things go awry. And so when we first introduced our exhibit to schools, one of the challenges that we ran into was that obviously different devices are going to be impacted different ways. So to use augmented reality, I think probably everyone in the room knows that you have to have a device that's within the last 2 to 3 years. And so it's got to be an AR-enabled device, which is fine for anybody who has a newer phone or a newer tablet. Unfortunately, not all students do. And so we had to work with schools to set up what their policies would be. The first school that we took that purchased the exhibit, they unfortunately, all of their tablets were too old to be augmented reality enabled. And so that was our first problem. Then they brought students in and they downloaded these free apps. And everybody downloaded the free app, and on 19 out of 20 phones, it worked great because, of course, we had the list of which phones it would work with. Unfortunately, there were a couple of phones that were on that list that it worked for, but they didn't have enough memory on their device for this exhibit, and so it bricked their phone. So now the principal is up in arms, and he's thinking that the school's going to be liable for these phones. So we had to get our techs on the phone with them and work through that issue. So, essentially, it was a pretty easy fix. We made some changes to the app. We re-uploaded the app. Now we have a permission screen for the size of the download. They have to confirm that they have that much space available. It's not a real big download, but if you're like a lot of high school kids, you may have a lot of videos and pictures and music on your phone, and you may not have enough space for a civil rights exhibit. So that's one of the issues. The other issue that we run into in the classroom is AR learning is largely an explorative learning process. Many schools, maybe most schools, still teach in a very standard way, rows of desks where students are going to sit and learn in a structured way. The augmented reality gives us the ability to not learn in that way, to learn in an explorative way. So the first thing that, when we created Victor the Torso, that was created on an actual, it was on a mannequin, the upper torso of a mannequin. And so students would download the Torso app, and they would begin pulling the organs out. But there's only one mannequin, and students would have to get up out of their desk, take their phones and go and manipulate the AR target. So suddenly that creates some disruption for teachers who really don't want any lack of structure in their classroom. Because of that, we've worked with instructors to explain to them that this is a time period during your class where you're going to allow your students to stand up, to explore, to talk together, to learn together. In addition to the actual mannequin, we created vinyl banner prints of the same thing. So now you can have more than just mannequin, you can have 2 or 3 vinyl banners also in your room, so that there's enough place for all of the students to go and to learn from the human anatomy and cadaver. So a couple of the other issues are the existing hardware and the future of hardware. Schools have to decide if they feel comfortable with a BYOD, a bring your own device strategy for learning with augmented reality. If the school chooses to only use their own tablets, it's unlikely that they have enough tablets. But as many of you may know, in the United States, a lot of schools are now going to a one-to-one computer or a Chromebook or another device. And the new Chromebooks that are coming out, they have a camera on both sides that will now work with augmented reality. Microsoft has a great new convertible computer as well, and that will work both ways with augmented reality. So what we look forward to is a future where a couple of things are happening. First, that laptop or that Chromebook will naturally work with augmented reality, and because of that, curriculum creators for augmented reality won't have any device issues moving forward. At the same time, we believe that within 5 years, most students will have some, at one level or another, glasses that are AR enabled. Now, maybe I'm a little too hopeful that all occurs in 5 years, but what we know is that AR enabled glasses will begin to dip their toe in the water in the next 12 to 18 months. When Apple enters into the space, we think that it'll become a very big deal, and that a lot of young people, high school, college students, will buy the AR Apple glasses. And once that occurs, then Katie bar the door, because everybody at one level or another will begin to have AR-enabled glasses. And we think that really starts in earnest in 2022, 2023, and moving beyond that. And when we are at that point, then suddenly learning changes completely, because students can learn walking down the hallway, they can learn with anything that sits in front of them that triggers a piece of knowledge, a piece of information, a 3D object, maybe a hologram that pops up to teach them. You know, for those of you that saw the Tom Cruise movie, escaping my memory right now, but this is the future that we all envision, in that we will have AI and AR supplementation on our knowledge. So with that, I'm going to stop talking and open it up for questions. And I'm not quite sure how we go about doing that. I might have to hop out and come back in, because I've lost my ability to control the environment.
Yeah, Steve, I can take care of the questions for you.
Okay, I'll just stand here and answer.
If you do, click on the raise hand button, and that way I can give you a megaphone. And we have one first off from Easy Boy.
Hi, yes. With the Apple, the augmented reality glasses, doing with Pokemon Go, would you be able to play from those glasses? And if you were able to play from those glasses, how would it actually work? I'm a big Pokemon Go fan.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad we left this slide the whole time for you. So obviously, Apple has not told the world the specifics of their AR-enabled glasses, but what we know about the existing products on the market. So you've got Unreal and Magic Leap and a few others that are coming onto the market. Lenovo has a product that's coming on this year. What we know is that almost certainly there will be graphically generated images, 3D objects that will be accessible through the AR-enabled glasses. And so, you know, whether it's in the first iteration of Apple's glasses or maybe a V2 or V3, what most people expect the first iteration to be is data, sort of like Google Glass. So, for example, if you are at a European football game or an American football game, when you have your AR-enabled glasses on, what you will see is data and statistics about your favorite players or about a play that just occurred or the number of goals you've had or the number of touchdowns they've scored. This information will appear in front of you, but it will not impede your viewing of the game. In the classroom, it'll be very similar. So we are looking to talk with, so we created dinosaurs. We have a whole suite of dinosaurs. And so wouldn't it be cool if you could sit in the back of a rental car when you're on vacation, when you're traveling down the interstate, play a game where there are dinosaurs on the sides of the interstate, and you can find one, you find certain types of dinosaurs, you capture it, and you get points and that type of thing. So this is what we believe the future looks like. Yeah, and it can be done with anything. So I hope that it answers your question. It's a little unclear right now, but yeah. I would say certainly that'll be the case.
But how does, so Microsoft is doing a lot better than Apple with augmented reality products. It's more mixed reality. How are they going to compete? Because Microsoft has already come out with multiple devices that have helped with mixed reality as a whole. So what do you think is going to happen?
For augmented reality, really the leaders currently are Google and Apple in the consumer space. In the enterprise space, the business space, we have the Hololens from Microsoft, which is the leader. You know, the Microsoft mixed reality headset is really primarily virtual reality. It doesn't have a lot of augmented reality in it. So, you know, the mixed reality tag is not a real accurate tag at this point. But the HoloLens is a true mixed reality device, and we also code on the HoloLens as well. So, you know, that's a great device. It's too expensive right now to be a consumer device, but it really has made some great inroads in the enterprise.
Yeah, now I think the Microsoft guy from earlier, there was another event about Microsoft. He said 3,500, which was
that's correct.
Yeah.
But with your standard phone, you can engage with augmented reality now, and that'll be converted to glasses in months.
Okay, we have another question from Carlos. Carlos, there you go.
I think you're probably right. How do I respawn my avatar? You know what? I'm just going to pop my headset off real quick and put it back on, see if I can reboot it real quick, if you'll just be patient.
Yeah, go ahead. Don't you love that hanged man look? Yeah. Well, let's see if we have success there. Yeah, he's probably rebooting the thing. No, he was having a lot of trouble with it before. This is an interesting spin, though. I mean, oh, you're back. And you can see?
I can see I'm back. This is very helpful. Sorry about that. You know, I'm actually on vacation in Colorado skiing today. And I'm in a ski lodge upstairs pulling this off, which is the beauty of what we're doing here, is the fact that we can make this happen anywhere. So tell me what I need to do next.
You got to put your megaphone back on. Click on Host Tools.
Got it.
And
is that better now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. Yes. Carlos, yeah, go ahead. So I hate to do this, but the apps that we would recommend you, that I would recommend you take a look at are our apps, which are free on the iOS store. If you look at VictoryXR, if you type into Apple or iOS, VictoryXR augmented reality, you should see 4 or 5 apps. And with each of them, there are targets you can download for free and use either in your classroom or personally or whatever the case might be. There's a option to purchase the entire suite of targets, but you don't necessarily need to do that. You can just use the free option, and we have some really cool choices. There's Space and Planets, which is always awesome. Human anatomy parts, 20-some different, every organ you can think of. And then we have dinosaurs. And who doesn't love having a dinosaur in your living room, right? So those are some of the apps we've created. Oh, and Victor the torso. So again, VictoryXR, augmented reality, you should see at least 4 options in there. And if you have students or you have children, then they particularly will love playing around with these in their home or in their classroom.
And what people?
Yeah, we have been fortunate that we're in about 50 school districts, some of the largest school districts in the United States. We've had 40,000 downloads of our content, so we've made some progress there. But as with any new technology, there's an adoption cycle, right? So what we try to do when we do our social media marketing is we try to find the early adopters. For example, like if any of you are promoting products through social media, Facebook will allow you to market to people who like Oculus Quest or like HTC Vive. So these are clearly going to be the early adopters. Those are the teachers that we want to try it first. From there, you go into the somewhat early adopters. And then after that, once people see that the kids are loving it and they're raving about it and they use AR or VR in their second period classroom, they go to their third period classroom and say, oh my gosh, I had the best experience. You would not believe what we did in Mrs. Johnson's class. Now, Mr. Smith is thinking, I got to start thinking about this. So we recognize there's an adoption timetable. And the goal for companies like ours and others is you just have to have enough money to last through that time period, because most AR, VR companies I know, not all, but most are losing money. And you expect that in the early days. You use investor dollars to create your content, create your products, and then hope that at some point they'll really catch on. And so that's what we're doing, and you've recognized maybe the biggest issue for success, which is having educators who are willing to be those early adopters and to pioneer AR and VR in the classroom and really change the way that that children around the world and adults around the world learn and learn, train. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, we have a question from Sue.
Oh,
Hello,
let me.
Sue.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just going off your iOS apps. Are they also on Android?
They are on Android, yes.
Oh,
Both
good.
platforms. I probably should have mentioned that, but thank you for pointing that out.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
They're also on, so for example, our dinosaur, you can download the dinosaur images with, when you download the app. At least on Apple, I know you can. But if you want the book, right, the dinosaur book, then you just go to Amazon and you order it off Amazon. And then you download the app and they go together. So that's really our approach on trying to create a sustainable business model. And that's really tough right now in education. People are all trying to figure out what is business model. And that's one of our approaches for it.
Great.
Yeah, it must be really
Thank you.
tough to start a business in a technology that, I mean, it's pioneer days, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the standard's going to be. So it's you're really rolling the dice.
Yeah, well,
Are you
and
nervous?
I've got a lot. I wouldn't say nervous. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I've done this a couple of times. But what I also know is that we could fail very easily, and a lot of AR and VR companies have already failed. So, fortunately, I have investors who believe in what we're doing. They believe that if we stick it out and we can just make it for another 2 to 3 years, then we will likely succeed. And we have some really amazing things that we're rolling out. I'm not going to talk about it here yet today, but in the next 4 weeks, we're going to make a major announcement and really try to change the way that children around the world learn. And part of it is related to AR and VR, and Sue might even know something about that.
I might.
Anybody else?
It looks like that's it for the questions.
Yeah, I appreciate the time to talk about what we were doing.
Well, you did a great job, and it was very interesting, and I learned some things today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Next time, I'll have fewer technology issues, and I won't be doing it from a ski lodge in Colorado. I've got dinner waiting downstairs for me, so I'm going to say thank you for giving your time here on a Friday night or a Saturday morning. And if you want to learn more about what we're doing, VictoryXR.com will give you most of the information you want to know. And so thank you very much for listening today.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Tom. And thank you all for coming to this event.
I'll try not. Thank you, everybody.
Stay out of the moguls. Stay out of the moguls.
Yes.
Oh, so there is a mod. Oops, sorry.